G'day guys, today I'm going to show you how I took this photo right here with my iPhone 16 Pro. You can do this with any iPhone at all as long as it has night mode on it. I'm going to show you today how I planned this shot, how I took this shot, and of course how I edited this shot. When it comes to planning this sort of photo, the first and foremost thing I tell everybody is to find a dark sky. It's absolutely paramount to do that. The number one thing on my Facebook group, Shane Mostyn Bloody Legends, whatever it's called, I'll link it down the bottom, really great group. One of the biggest questions I get on there is, why is this not working for me? And almost every single time it's because the light in the night sky is too bright. So you need to find yourself a dark night sky. I've seen people shoot better night skies on really old phones compared to people who are shooting the night sky on brand new phones just because the light pollution is better where the old phone was. I'll link down the bottom there to a website, lightpollutionmap.info. You put in your details of where you are and look at where you're going to go and shoot. And you're looking for a Bortle 3, 1, 2, one of those, and you're going to be able to get a nice shot. You can do it in the higher Bortle numbers, but basically what they're saying is there's more light pollution there. You want a really dark sky. I can't emphasize that enough. And where I am here in north central Victoria, Australia, I'm up at Mount Hope. Mount Hope is up behind me here. That's what all that rocky outcrop is. This here is a Bortle 1 location. So I've got really, really dark skies here, and I shoot a lot of astrophotography shots right here. On a side note, the moon is also a pain in the ass for doing this. You want to have no moon phase. You want to have minimal moon to go into this shot. A new moon, as in no moon in the sky, you're going to get a better shot than when there's a full moon, because the moon is just, well, light pollution when it comes to this sort of thing. Number two is the equipment that you have. You are going to have a tripod, because without a tripod, you're only going to shoot for 10 seconds. With a tripod, you're going to be able to shoot for 30 seconds. And that time, that extra 20 seconds, makes the world of difference. So get yourself a tripod. Also, you're going to need a phone holder with your tripod. This is the tripod that I'm using at the moment. It's a Explorer Photo Video tripod. It's a great tripod. It's pretty expensive. I use it for all sorts of photography. Any tripod will do. I've got some tripods coming out soon, so stay tuned. This here is the phone holder that I use. This is a Ulanzi ST28, I think it's called. This is a MagSafe phone holder. So here's the iPhone 16 Pro, and there it is on the tripod. Some people don't like the MagSafe ones. They think they're a bit unsafe, like dropping your phone. I've got to be honest, I just don't drop it. It works pretty well. I've had the 14 Pro Max, 15 Pro Max, and I've got the 16 Pro now. I've never had one fall off here. They're quite safe, but if you are a little bit unsure about that, get ones that clamp together. You'll also need some sort of light source to light paint the subject. In this case, it's the rock. So I'm going to put light onto this tonight to show the creases, the crevices, all the texture of the rock, and I'll show you how we do that in a second. So you need a light source of some sort. You can use a torch on the back of a phone, anything like that. You want it to be adjustable in how bright you can make it. Other than that, that's it. Next thing you want is a subject that you're going to want to photograph. Sure, you can just point your phone at the sky and say, hey, I took some photos of the stars, and eventually that's going to get pretty boring for you. So you're going to want to do something with a subject with that awesome galactic core, which we'll talk more about in a second, and photograph a subject with that awesome night sky. In this case here, we're using this rocky outcrop here. So as I said before, I'm at Mount Hope in north central Victoria in Australia. There are lots of these little rocky outcrops all over this hill. This one here is the one we're going to shoot tonight. And it's fairly big. It's way up in the air. And that's important because of where the galactic core is tonight. I'll show you how to find that in a second. But at the moment, the galactic core is up nice and high. And the rock is going to sit about this high, and I'm going to sit about this high. So when I shoot, I'm going to shoot past the rock up to the galactic core, and we'll have the rock with the galactic core across the back of it, and it should look pretty good. But how do we find that galactic core? The way that I find it is with Photopills. There's a few different apps that you can use to find this, but I've used Photopills for so long. It's a one-off purchase. It works on iOS and Android. It's just sensational for doing exactly what I'm about to show you how to do. It does lots of things, but it does this really, really well. So I'm using augmented reality in this, and what that is superimposing the night sky over what the camera sees. So I can move over here and you can see there's the rock in the shot, and at the moment it's 9:30 a.m. I'm going to swing this around to where I want this composition, right about there. So if I go down a little bit lower, just here, that's going to be the shot that I'm hoping to get. So at about 9 o'clock tonight, I'll be able to come out and take this photo. It's worth noting at this point that you are not going to be able to see that galactic core, that orange gaseous cloud. You are not going to see that all year round. It has a season, and in Australia it starts pretty much beginning of March and it goes through to very late October. And in March it starts there. In the early morning it will be up vertical in the eastern sky. Come October, in the evening, you're only going to see it for maybe an hour or two, and it will be in the western horizon and it'll be flat. So it moves all through the sky at different times of the year. In the northern hemisphere, it's a little bit different. Your season is even shorter than that, and you don't get to see all of the gaseous cloud that we get to see in the southern hemisphere. You can still get some good shots, but we can just do it better. I will say, as a solo creator, as in I come out here on my own and do these things for you, almost always on my own. This comes with practice. You're not going to get this straight away on every shot every single time. In fact, I don't do that. I try different lighting techniques all the time. In fact, with this torch here, it goes up in increments from 1% up to 100%, and it gives you a lot more flexibility to light a subject. It's just a matter of testing and playing and playing and testing. But when you're on your own, you've got to run around at night time doing all this stuff. So wear good footwear, be mindful of, always do a bit of a recce or recon in the daylight hours so that you can see what's on the ground, what you're going to trip over in the darkness. But when there's more than one of you, you can have so much fun with this. You can have someone just pushing the button on the phone and someone else running around with the torches and the lights and lighting. You can get some sensationally good photos when there's a couple of you, and you get heaps of them. Just trust me, go out with a mate and do all this. The way that we light this with the torch, the phone is here, the subject is here. I don't ever want to light this from just here. I want to move around to the side, out over here, out of the frame of the shot, and light this from this sort of an angle here. And the reason that I do that is that all those little bumps, little cracks, all the texture that's on that rock is going to be caught in a little bit of a shadow and show you more of the detail of that rock because it's on that angle. If you shine it directly from where you are, you won't see any of that. It'll just look very flat, and we want to avoid that. Now that's it. Now we just wait until it's dark and we come out and take a photo. Hopefully this wind doesn't hang around too much. It is so cold right now. We're going to get this done pretty quickly. The wind is coming from the south. It's pretty full on. Hopefully you can hear me okay. The rock is sitting up here behind me. Got the tripod sitting here, and we're going to use the light. I've actually just got the light on the ground over there at the moment. The light is variable, like I spoke about today. So it's a matter now of just doing some trial and error. We're going to shoot for 30 seconds. It's just the way it is, with the same composition that we spoke about today. Then it's a matter of using that light, getting the right sort of intensity that we want, and then just trying it for a period of time. You might want it lighter, you might want it darker, and you would go for longer or shorter, depending on what you wanted to achieve. It's going to sit the phone on the tripod here. This tripod, doesn't matter the tripod, I've got a couple coming to review, so hold off on buying one if you can, because I've got some really cool ones coming, nice, affordable, and should be pretty bloody sturdy. This here is a Ulanzi MagSafe phone holder. ST28 is the number of it. I use this one all the time. I just always forget what it's actually bloody well called. I like this because it's as simple as just doing that, putting it on the tripod and Bob's your uncle. We're setting up the night mode photo just like we do with every other one. Up the top left hand corner you've got the night mode, but we'll go next to the arrow, hit the arrow and hit the night mode wheel, the yellow icon that's there. Push it all the way to the left or all the way to the right, depending on how your head thinks of it. These things, we're looking for the longest shutter speed that we can. There's a lot of light going on out here at the moment. I've got the light over there that's sitting there in front of the rock, and I've also got the video light here. But I'll turn this off and we'll shoot the photo with that big light in the front here, and you'll see what I'm talking about. As we can see by that photo, the rock is heavily blown out. That's because it was was pretty much on 100% for the whole duration of the photo. In fact, you can't even, oh, you can see some stars, but not many stars. So that's not going to work. So we've got to get the right sort of lighting first. So I'm going to turn this light here. Where is this controller for this? Turn it up to just 1%. Is that 1%? It's 2%, but we'll give it a go. And we're going to shine it on the rock. We're going to hit the shutter button, shine this on the rock for about 5 to 10 seconds, and that's it. I'll tell you what, I really like that. In the time that it's taken me just to mess around with the lighting and stuff, because this hasn't happened as quickly as it happened in the video here. I've actually had a few shots at this. I'll show you what they look like. And I've moved the tripod a little bit. I think now, because the Galactic Core is coming down even further, I'm going to raise the tripod up a little bit and we'll get another shot. This should be better. So got my torch ready. I've got the configuration done right. The composition, I should say. Let's try another photo. That's the photo. Happy days. I'm really happy with that. The core looks good. The rock looks good. The trees are blowing around and there's nothing I can do about that. It's blowing a freaking gale. If I was a little bit higher on that mound just behind me here, you wouldn't be able to hear anything. Hopefully you can actually hear what I'm saying right now. Last thing I'm going to do here is exactly the same configuration. I'm going to put it back on the tripod, do exactly the same thing again. Or not exactly the same thing again. I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to shoot Pro Raw. And then we'll edit some. We're not going to edit it out here because I'm absolutely freezing my ass off. With the editing, I'm going to use Adobe Lightroom. I've had a look through some of the photos that I took last night, and some of them I'm happy with, some of them I'm not. Honestly, if it wasn't so bloody cold, I would be taking more. I ended up choosing my favorite, and it's actually not a raw file, believe it or not. Doesn't matter. We're still going to edit this up, even though it's not the raw file. We'll still be able to get some really neat things out of this. With phone photography, especially with iPhones, the main thing you want to get rid of is the haze. And we'll go through a few different things here and to get rid of the haze. We will look at lighting, getting the exposure right on the rock, on the subject, getting rid of some of the parts here that are not very nice. And the main thing is bringing some of the detail out of the Galactic Core. In Lightroom, there's a few different ways we can do it. We can start with a preset down there, and these are my presets. You can actually buy these on the website at shanemawson.com. They're like $5 for a set, and they're quite effective as a good starting point. But if you don't have that, like for example, look back to basics, just look at that with one hit of a button. I'll put my thumb on there, take it off, put it on, take it off. It does a really good job. So these are all available right now on the website. Go over there and grab them, help support the channel if you like. If you don't want to do that, let's go and edit this from nothing. I would advise strongly against using the auto button with any sort of Astro shot. In fact, that made a liar out of me because that actually did do a pretty good job. But I'll go get rid of that and bring it back to the beginning. So we'll look at this in 3 ways. 1, global adjustments. 2, subject adjustments. And 3, sky adjustments. We'll go straight and do the global one first. Global is the whole photo. That's what I refer to as the whole photo. When I'm looking at this, what do I see and what don't I like? One is the haze. So we're going to go to the Effects tab, go to Effects and bring up the dehazing slider. We're looking at the sky here and we're looking at the foreground, the subject in particular. And I think roughly around there is right. When it comes to editing, less is more. The more you edit these things, the more you do things to these, the less natural it actually looks. That's all I'm going to do in there. As far as the color goes, as global adjustments, I might just decrease that temperature just a little bit. It would have more of an effect on this if it was a raw file, but it still gives you reasonably good information here. With the tint, I tend to go a little bit more magenta with all of the Astro photos. Keep it to what you like yourself. For me, it's generally colder, so I like to bring that element into the photo. That's all I want to do from here at the moment. Next to this adjustments tab down the bottom is the masking tab. Hit the blue mark and I'm going to go select sky. It's going to go through the photo and find all the sky that is there. Go up to the effects tab, bring the dehazing slider up a little bit more. As you move this dehazing slider, watch the tree on the right hand corner, on the bottom right hand corner. See how it gives that HDR effect? You want to avoid that. So when you're adjusting this dehazing, just keep an eye on the high contrasting elements. And as soon as you start to see that halo, stop doing it. Going to increase the clarity a little bit and watch the galactic core right in the middle of that galactic core as you do this. It's going to give reasonable good effects, just a little bit there. Over to the light, go down to blacks and decrease the blacks because the sky is dark. We want to kind of represent it in that way. What else do we want to do? Color, decrease that just a little bit, make it a little bit bluer. I quite like that. Now with Lightroom, if you just touch your finger on to the photo, it'll show you before and after of everything that you've done there. I actually think that black's decreasing that probably a little bit too far. That's not too bad there. I'm going to hit the tick there and hit the masking button one more time. Hit the plus and go to subject. It's going to now find that rock. And with the rock, I'm going to just bring that color very, very slow. Which way do I want to go there? As I do this, it's not matching the dirt in front of it. So I actually want to bring that a little bit cooler. That's not too bad. And I'm going to go to the details, add some sharpness, go to the effects and add some clarity. What it's going to do is all those little grains, see all the shadows that I was talking about earlier? It's helping to bring those out. So I think it's kind of important to do that. Do I want to do anything else with that? No, I don't. I'm going to hit the tick on that. The last thing I want to do is address any sort of imperfections that I find in this photo. And down the bottom in the middle there, it's got this kind of weird artifacts sort of thing going on there in that grass. And I want to get rid of that, or at least hide it. So we're going to go to masking once again, hit the add and add a linear gradient. And I'm going to bring that up from the bottom, spread it out fairly far, and just slowly bring it down to about there. In the color, I'm going to add green to it. I'm going to add clarity, a lot of clarity. Over to the light, I'm going to bring down the blacks, see how that affects it. It's going to bring the greens up a little bit, as you can see in there. I might decrease the whites as well, and I'll probably decrease the shadows a little bit. And you might be thinking, why not just underexpose all of it? Because all of those things do it differently. When you bring the exposure down on its own, it does it all as a whole. All right, hit the tick of that. What else do we want to do? Absolutely nothing. I'm going to try something though. We'll go to the masking tool again, hit plus, going to go a radial gradient and bring it across that galactic core. Turn it around, just because I want to do something just to the core. Go to the effect tab and increase the clarity and see how that goes across. Change the color a little bit, make it a little bit warmer, and I might saturate that a little bit. That's pretty good. Hit the tick, export that, and we're good. The main thing to remember with editing any photo is you're editing it for yourself. You can go and put it on the Facebook group, ask for feedback, ask for advice. People will give you different advice. But at the end of the day, you are the one that needs to be happy with what you've produced out of that photo. And that's it. You know now how to take photos with the iPhone of the Galactic Core, plan it, shoot it, edit it, all in one video. Hope you liked it. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, and I'll see you next week.